Hey guys, it's your girl Kareen and welcome back to Kareen TV. Today I have another story time for you. It is a bit of a more serious topic. Um, if I cry, I apologize, but yes, let's get into
Said I
it.
love, I love you still, yeah, yeah. Oh, I love you. I love you still, even with the pain.
Okay, so this video is about my first time ever being pregnant. For those of you that do not know, I am a mother of two. I have a boy and a girl. My son will be 6 in January of 2018. We are now in November of 2017. So, yes, I found out that I was pregnant after my dad passed away, a couple of days after he passed away. And my sister went with me. So, what happened was my dad passed away, and I also have a video about my experience and challenges with that on the same channel, and there'll be a link down below to watch that video. But yes, so my dad passed away, and a couple days later, I found out. My sister and I go to a walk-in clinic, do the tests, and they're like, "Congratulations!" And I'm looking at her like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I'm gonna be an aunt." And it really wasn't her that they were talking about. They were talking about me. So I tell my boyfriend at the time, "Hey, I'm pregnant," and he's West Indian. He's from St. Vincent, and he's like, "I knew that you were having a little baby. I knew we were having a pitme because," and he says pitme. I don't know why, but he just says pitme. Maybe that's something that all Vincentians say. I don't know, but he was saying, "Yeah, I knew we were having a pitme because he had all the symptoms. I had nothing. Like, I literally had no symptoms at all. He was tired all the time. He was cranky all the time. He was peeing all the time. He had cravings. Like, I had nothing. Like, I didn't feel like I was pregnant at all. Like, I had no idea what was going on. I just felt like I was having a different bodily experience. And the reason why I say that is because I went to go get waxed. We'll just leave it at that. And I've always gotten waxed, and it has always hurt. But this time, when I tell you it hurt like a motherfucker, it hurt like a motherfucker, okay? Like, it hurt like you would not believe. You would have swore blind that this was the first time that I ever was getting waxed. And please believe me, I was like, okay, something is wrong. Like, something's wrong down there. Like, I need to go to the doctor. Okay, so fast forward. Tanya, my sister, and I go to the doctor, find out that I'm pregnant. At first, I was like, how am I gonna have a baby and my dad is not here? I've always wanted my children to know my parents. I never got the opportunity to meet my grandparents. They passed away way before I was even a thought. And I always wanted my children to have that. As parents or as people, you always want your children or someone else to have something that you never got the opportunity to have. So I was thinking to myself, okay, maybe, I should have an abortion, but I can't really go through an abortion right now. Like, I'm just so sad and happy all at once. So throughout my pregnancy, the whatless man, and I'll call him the whatless man because he's a whatless man. Him and I weren't really getting along. He was always different. And this time around, in him begging me not to get rid of my baby, he was still acting very weird. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to remove myself from that equation, and I'll just be pregnant by myself. As much as I don't want to, I know what it's like to have both parents. I don't want to be a single mom, but if he's gonna act like this, then I guess I just had no choice. So my pregnancy was the worst. Like, it was the absolute worst. I was sick I had morning sickness and I was sick, not even just morning sickness, but sickness all the time throughout my entire pregnancy until I was about closer to the 9-month mark. I think about my baby shower, that's when the sickness got a little bit easier in a sense, but I was still a bit sick. Like every morning, I just wanted to just throw out my life. I was in the hospital every other week, and I felt like there was something wrong. I didn't know what the wrong was. I just knew something was wrong. I was losing a lot of weight. I lost over 30 pounds in both pregnancies. But in Kairi's case, which is my son, my firstborn, I lost well over 30 pounds, but he was gaining weight, so they weren't worried. And just throughout that entire pregnancy, like the whatless man would call and I'd end up in the hospital. He would send me a text message. He would just pop up at my house, and right after he leaves, or closer to before him leaving, I'm having to run to emergency. My mom and my sister are having to take me to emergency because it was like Kairi in my belly was like, who the hell is this friggin' guy? Like, get away. You're just making me even more upset. Like, go on. And I just couldn't bear to be in his presence. I couldn't bear to hear his voice. I couldn't bear to just anything with him. And I just couldn't understand why that was. So baby shower, he pretends like everything is great between us when we're not really together. And I really wanted things to work, but they just didn't. And the day that I was giving birth, called him and said, hey, I'm having a baby, come to the hospital now. He was already at work, but whatever, leave the fucking job and make sure your ass is at the hospital when I deliver, because if you're not there when I deliver, it's going to be a mother effing problem. So he gets there, and at this point, I am in the most excruciating pain of life. Okay, so before I talk about delivery, so I did mention just a while ago that I was sick. So I was in the hospital, as I mentioned, every week or every 2 weeks. To top that off, I had gallstones. So there was one time when I was having a reaction from the gallstones. I thought I was going into labor. It was the most excruciating pain I've ever felt in my entire life. And that's why I thought I was going into labor, just to find out that I had gallstones. And there was nothing that they could do until I gave birth. And I would probably have more reactions like I had that time. So they said to me, don't have any greasy foods, like basically eat nothing. And at the time I still wasn't eating anything anyways. So that in itself was a struggle. Then, because I was losing so much weight, and literally guys, if for any of you guys that watched Twilight, when Bella was pregnant, that's how I looked. Seriously. You can ask my friend Raquel. Like, I really felt like I looked like Bella Swan when she was pregnant with Esme, or I believe that's the name of her daughter in that movie. I was very drawn down. My complexion was very pale. The works. And I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, oh my God, like, it was a really hard time for me. Like, it was a really rough time. So in that same process of finding out that I have gallstones, my mom and I are in the mall, and I'm hunched over. We're in Woodbine Mall, mind you. I'm hunched over, and I cannot sit up or stand up right. And I'm like, okay, something is wrong. I wonder if I'm going into labor again. But I wasn't. I could not walk. I had shooting pain from here all the way down to the right side of my body. We go to emergency. They can't tell me what's wrong with me. They do a lot of research and blood drawn. I'm all getting, because Kairi is still, I think I'm probably like 6.5 months at the time. They're giving me injections in my friggin' body. And if you know me, I don't fucking like needles. So imagine getting a needle in your fucking ass, okay? That was the worst. And the reason why they gave me the injections in my butt is to help his lungs develop. Just in case if I go into labor at 6.5 months, probably 7 months, at least his lungs will have a chance to develop outside of the womb. And it'll give him a fighting chance of survival. Okay, great. Happy about that, but just a lot to find out after all of the research and all of the pokes and prods and all that other stuff. I have a slipped disc on my right side. So now I'm pregnant. I have gallstones. I have sickness all day. I'm barely eating. I'm barely keeping anything down. And I have a slipped disc. So now I need to go to physio. I couldn't even lay down on my back because obviously the baby is too heavy for me to lay on my back and actually get up this way. It actually hurts. It's a big strain on your back and it could seriously injure you. But I'm in physio. He puts some pillows on my back, gives me some exercises to do, tells me how to properly get up, to help myself, and to push the disc back into place. If it gets worse, I'm gonna have to do surgery, yada, 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 yada. So luckily it gets better and I don't have to do surgery. And then, of course, moving forward now to what I was mentioning before, labor. That was the most excruciating pain I have ever felt in my life. And a lot of women say, oh, if you have a really, 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 really bad period, you'll be able to handle birth. Those motherfuckers lied to me, okay? Because I had really bad periods and that labor pain was terrible. Yes, I took epidural because I could not tolerate the pain. My body is, I don't have a high tolerance for pain whatsoever. Yes, I have tattoos and all that stuff, but I don't have a high tolerance for pain. My body reacts negatively to pain, actually. And in this instance, my body is being shocked for the first time of labor, and all I'm doing is leaning over the bed and vomiting my life. And because I don't have any energy at all already, they have to give me IV. But because I'm also throwing up, and I'm throwing up a lot of nothing and throwing up a lot of the liquids that they're pumping in me, they literally have to squeeze an entire, turn the drip high, and they basically have to squeeze an entire bag of IV in me to get fluids back in my system to prepare myself to push this baby out so that way I don't have to do emergency C-section. And then they put another bag of IV. Most terrible thing ever to ever happen, because now my body is even more shocked because I am freezing. They have to take a bunch of those warm blankets, put it on me, and I'm still vomiting up my life. And now it's time for me. I tell my mom, I'm like, hey, I need to push. I feel like I have to push. Like I have this fighting urge to push. Please go call the nurse. And my Jamaican mother, oh, them say you're not to push. You're not supposed to push until the doctor or the nurse come back. And I'm like, go find a doctor or a nurse. I have to push. And then of course, my body is, I'm just pushing, scooting myself down even further, putting my feet on, what do they call it, the stirrups or whatever they're called. I'm putting my legs on those things, and I'm just preparing myself for this baby because I can feel like it's time for my baby to come out. Mind you, contractions started at 6 o'clock in the morning and it's closer to 12 now, 12 p.m. And he's ready, like he is ready. This whole time I have no idea what I'm having, and I'm very adamant that it's a boy. And the reason why I'm adamant that it's a boy is because my dad just passed away, and in the West Indies they say one born, or one gone, one born, and I felt like that was my dad in my son. So I was very adamant that this is my boy, and I'm pushing. Finally the doctors and the nurses come in and they're like, oh, you're not supposed to be pushing. I'm like, I have to, like my body, my brain and my body is telling me to push, but I don't have the energy to push him out. So they have to use a vacuum. That hurt me so much to know that I couldn't push him out myself, that I needed assistance. And they used the vacuum, and I tried my darndest to push. My mom was on, my mom was on my right side. The whatless man is on my left side, holding my hand, and I'm really trying my best to push. And they're still getting using the vacuum to put on the top of his head, and they pull him out. And I'm hearing this beautiful cries, and all I'm doing is just crying my eyes out, looking at my mom, and my mom's like, oh yeah, you did good, you did good, you did good. And I'm just so happy because I was told years ago that because I had ovarian cysts and the type of cyst that I had, that I possibly couldn't have any kids. And then to see this baby, and my dad's not here, but I know that he's here because he is a part of my son, was just a very happy moment for me. And I wasn't going to let anybody take it away. And then, of course, the whatless man is talking about, oh, you look so ugly when you were pushing and all that other stuff. And I'm looking at him like, shut the fuck up. Like, you are not taking this moment away from me. Nobody's taking this moment away from me. And I'm looking at this baby crying, and I'm still crying. My mom's crying, and I'm looking to try to see what kind of baby it is. And I'm like, what is it? Because I see this big, huge beauty mark on the booty, but I can't see balls. I don't see a vagina because there's so much people surrounding him, especially because they had to use the vacuum, so they gotta monitor his head and all that stuff. And they're like, it's a boy, bawling even more. And it was just an amazing time. I'm looking at him. He looks Asian, and I will insert a picture here. My little Blasian baby. His dad is not Asian. His dad is black. He's from St. Vincent. His mom is Jamaican. And a whole bunch of other mixes on, I don't know his dad's side, but I have a lot of mix in me. So maybe that's why my baby looks Blasian, but yeah. And I'm super happy, and I'm talking to my baby and telling him I'm so happy to be his mom, and just an overall amazing experience. I ripped, didn't even know. I just saw the doctor doing like this down there, and I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm stitching you back up. I'm like, stitching me back up? What do you mean? She's like, yeah, you ripped. I was like, oh, okay. I don't feel anything because I got Depakote. Thank God. So, finally, 2 days later, bring Kairi home. I'm still in some pain because they stitched me. Not like excruciating, but trying to get used to getting back into my regular body. Get his formula because my milk didn't develop yet. And he would latch. I just didn't have milk. I had the colostrum, just didn't have the actual breast milk. And I knew that I wanted to make sure that he was fed and he was good. If I didn't have milk at all, then he'd be good. And then 3 days later, the whatless man comes over, holds him, takes pictures, shows him off on his social media, I guess. And that was probably one of the last times that I saw him. At this point, him and I are not together. I am the happiest mommy in the world, but I'm also the most depressed mommy in the world because I'm not with my child's father. I have always wanted, for one, to be married first, then have kids, and just have one man to have kids with. And that didn't happen. So in that, I'm depressed. And then also, because I know what it's like to have both parents, I don't know what it's like to experience just one parent or both parents separately. It's bugging me so much that my son will never have that. And I feel like I might have postpartum because I kind of don't want to touch him, but I need to be around him. It's almost like I don't want to, but I need to feeling that pushed me towards just making sure that he's good. And I always felt like that whatless guy will never, ever, ever do anything to take these moments for my child away from me, because I will lose my life before I allow him that opportunity. And maybe that's selfish of me to think of at that time, but my feelings were always valid, and I knew that. And he would always say, "Oh yeah, I'm coming over," and he never came. And he would make all these promises. Same thing that his dad did to him, he's now doing to my child. He denied him because Kairi is light skinned and because I'm dark skinned, so he says, and he's dark skinned. We can't make light skinned babies. He says that Kairi looks nothing like him, and that I'm a whore. He knows that I cheated on him during my pregnancy. Kairi is not his, and I need to go find my child's father, the right father. Mind you, he's on his birth certificate and everything. That in itself was a blow. I definitely felt unpretty. I definitely felt unworthy. It was just a very hard time. And I'm sorry that I'm not looking directly at the camera. I'm looking away because I'm really trying not to cry because it's been 6 years. But it's still a hurtful scenario or experience that I've gone through. And sometimes it makes me sad. And I end up taking him to court. Sorry, I'm really pacing myself so that way there's no tears. I take him to court because he's not helping me. Sorry. So in Canada, we have something called maternity leave, where you get a portion of your pay for the amount of months that you are off of work. Now, in Canada, you can take a year of maternity leave. So I definitely say that I'm going to take a year of maternity leave so I can be with my child for his first year of life. So throughout the time that my child is here, I'm basking in these moments. Tanya wasn't here. Tanya was in Asia because she sings and she was performing, and she finally got to meet Kairi, I think, when he was about a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks or so. And that was a very happy moment for me. I'm crying because I always wanted my sister to be there and she wasn't there. And I don't blame her for not being there. I was the one that told her to go to Asia and make her money and do what she loves. So I don't malice her. I don't hate her for doing that. I've always wanted her to follow her dreams, and I've always been her number one fan, and I will continue to be her number one fan until I have no more breath in this body. So she finally got to meet him. I was so happy. My aunts from New York came down, my Aunt Dorothy and my Aunt Edna. And Aunt Edna is that OG, old school auntie that stretches out the baby and pick them up by their neck and their legs and their arms and stretch them out and everything. So I'm super happy about that because she did that to me. She did that to everybody's kids, her own kids, my sister, my daughter, my niece. She done that to everybody. So that was an amazing experience for me. And then slowly I am messaging the Wetless man and I'm saying, hey, you're supposed to come over to see Kairi. You haven't come to see him. Like, what's going on? And then, of course, he's still denying my child. So I tell him, tell me where to go and when to go there so you could get your maternity test or paternity test, whatever you want to call it, DNA, to find out if he's yours or not. Because I know that you and I have been together for a pretty long time, and I know that it's only you that I've been with for that amount of time that we've been together. So if you choose to believe that he's not your child because you can't make boy children, as he said, and because he's too light-skinned, like, look at my mom, look at my aunts. Like, you guys have seen my mom. My mom's light. Children just don't look like both of their parents. We have ancestors. We just don't look like both of our parents. We look like the ones that came before them. Like, how could you think anything less? Like, you're retarded. But anyways, he's like, oh, I'm not paying for no DNA test, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, neither am I. So, too bad. If you choose not to believe that he's your child, then you choose not to believe that he's your child and do whatever you need to do. Now, I bring him to court, because I've now exhausted my savings to take care of my child. And like I was mentioning before, so we have maternity leave. Maternity leave takes forever to kick in. So now I really have no money and he's not helping me. So I have my mom and my sister and my aunts and friends and family and all that stuff, but I don't really want to ask them. I'm the parent, I should be able to take care of my child. But I bought a stroller with no help from him. I'm buying diapers all the time. I'm buying formula all the time. He needs clothes. He needs all these many things. And there's no money generating in. There's no money coming in, but there's money for my savings going up. So I've depleted my savings. You're not helping me. So I'm just going to take you to court for full custody and child support. So he is super pissed off with me that I've taken him to court because I told him, as long as you take care of your child, we don't ever have to see a courtroom. But if you do not help me, then we will see a courtroom. You're not helping me. You're not helping me take care of him. You don't see him. So, sorry, I take you to court. I didn't make him by myself, and I'm going to take care of him by myself. So we go to court. I have full custody of my child. He has to see him every other week. He's supposed to take him. He has to arrange for pickup. He has to arrange for drop off. And it's only for a couple of hours on Saturday. The last time that Kyrie saw his dad he didn't call him for his first birthday. He wasn't there at his party. And he didn't call. Not even days after. Maybe a couple months after he called. Then second birthday, he didn't call on his birthday again. He called in the middle of February to tell him happy birthday, and I'm like, his birthday is long past. And by this time, like, I'm slowly kind of getting over him. I have Daniel. Daniel has been in Kyrie's life since Kyrie's been 5 months. And I've always known Daniel, and there's a bit of backstory. My friend, or not friend now, but used to be best friends, or so I thought we were. That's another story time. But my friend at the time introduced me to Daniel because she was dating Daniel's friend. So I've known Daniel since I was 17. It's always been like a hey, how are you kind of thing. And years later, here's where we are. Who would have known that I would have met the guy that I probably would be spending the rest of my life with when I was 17? Anyways, so now Daniel's in the picture. I have zero care, finally, for the Whatless man not being there. I stopped messaging him, I stopped calling him, I stopped doing all of that. And we're in court. I'm granted full custody. He has to take Kyrie every Saturday, which he doesn't do. Last time Kyrie saw his dad was when he was 2 years old, shortly after his second birthday, and he stopped taking him, he stopped calling. And I then learned that the reason why he was acting the way that he was acting is because he cheated on me. I felt like he was cheating on me, but I didn't have proof, and this is when we were together. And he's telling people that, or his daughter's mother, his other child's mother, is telling people that Kyrie's not his, and how I'm a hoe, I was cheating, I was the side chick, apparently, and I just end up bleeding before she does. So, Kyrie has a sister that is his age. Kyrie was born in January. His sister is born in May. They are exactly, January, February, March, April, May. They are exactly 4 months apart. So I got pregnant, and then a couple months later, she got pregnant around the exact same time. Luckily, I wasn't sleeping with him when I found out I was pregnant because I don't know what she has. Not to say that she's a whore or any of that stuff. I could care less. But I'm just happy that he didn't give me anything, because who knows, if he was cheating on me with her, he's probably cheating with many other people. But yeah, she was running around telling people how my son doesn't belong to the whatless man, and I'm a hoe, and I'm a this, and I'm a that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, say whatever you want. I don't know you. You don't know me. But it's so funny that he's not his child, but yet his whole family knew that I was pregnant. His whole family knew about Kyrie being born. Nobody knew about you. Nobody knew about your daughter. People found out about your daughter when she was a year. So who's the hoe?
Oh my God!
I'm just saying. Anyways, so he's supposed to be helping me with Kyrie. He does. I tried to reach out to him, tried to say, hey, Kyrie has asked for you. There's been many times where Kyrie's like, dad, dad, dad. And because Daniel has always been in the picture, that's the only dad that he knows. In the beginning, Kyrie used to call Daniel dad, and I had to be like, no. And I felt that was unfair because the whatless man was in his life in that time, because he was taking him when he was supposed to, and then he stopped. So now Daniel's the only dad that he really knows. And it's been trying in the sense of not having that parent around for your child when they should be. I'm very grateful for Daniel for being there for my child. It's basically his son. Sorry. And I appreciate him, and I'm very happy that he is involved in his life. He's he is his dad. And I want to say to anybody that's watching this video that has ever gone through what I've gone through or similar to what I've gone through. In the beginning, you're going to feel like it's your fault. You're going to feel like you're a terrible parent. You're going to feel like you are a terrible mother. You are going to question yourself. You're going to question your morals, your values. You're going to wonder, what is wrong with me? Why my child's parent doesn't want to be a part of my child's life, because I did feel like that for a very long time. Sorry, I do have moments where I do feel like that when he asks about his dad. Sometimes I feel like I failed him. Sorry, I was really trying not to cry. I really did feel like I failed my child, and I really did feel like maybe there's something wrong with me. Why his dad just doesn't want to be around him. And then I just stopped feeling like that. Even with Daniel in the picture, I still felt like, what is so wrong with me? What is wrong with my child? Like, my child is beautiful. He is such an amazing person. He has an amazing heart. He's such a jovial kid. He loves everybody. He loves everything. Like, he's such a well-rounded young man. And I'm not just saying that because he's my child, but he really is. Like, he's such a happy person. Why wouldn't you want to be around such an amazing being? Like, you helped create this life. Why wouldn't you want to be around? So for any of you that have ever experienced what I've gone through, you are not alone. For one, you're not a terrible mother. You're not a terrible father. You are not a terrible parent whatsoever. There's nothing wrong with you. There's everything wrong with that person, but there's nothing wrong with you. You do what you need to do for your child. It's always going to be your child. Always, always, always. You do what you see fit for your child. You ensure that they have the best life that you can give them. And when they get older, if you choose to tell them your situation, so they learn from it, so that way they don't follow in. If it's a girl that you have, she doesn't follow in your footsteps, hopefully. And if it's a boy that you have, he doesn't follow in his father's footsteps, vice versa, whatever the case may be. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is rainbow and sunshine and lollipops and gumdrops. There's all of that. And you will reap the reward. I look at Kyrie every day and I'm just like, I can't believe I'm your mother. I can't believe you're mine. And I'm so happy to have you. I know he's going to be some everybody amazing. He already is amazing, but I know when he gets older, he's going to be even more amazing. He's going to be better than me, because I always want my children to be better than me. And he's going to succeed in life. And in that moment, that's when the whatless man is going to want to come around. And he probably won't have any time for him. And if he does, I will never stop that. I've never stopped the whatless man from being around or seeing him. He has chosen not to be around. He has chosen not to see him, and that's on him. It's not on me. And if the father or the mother of your child doesn't want to be around, that's not on you. That's on them. They lose. You do not lose. Yes, it hurts your child, but you just make it a point to be there for them. Kyrie didn't even know he had two dads. The reason why he knew that he had the whatless man, and okay, I call him the whatless man. I've never called him the whatless man around Kyrie. I've always shown Kyrie pictures of him, the ones that I do have from like my baby shower, and him holding him, and that's it. Because I don't have any more updated photos. Sorry, camera's moving. But I've always been an open book with Kyrie. I haven't completely told him everything that transpired because he's too young. When he gets older, if he asks me, I will tell him. But I've never hid the facts from him. He just always thought that Daniel was his dad, and the reason why he found out Daniel wasn't his dad because of school. And I was very pissed off at his old school for being like, oh yeah, your stepdad's here, and he's like, stepdad? He didn't know about any of that. So that was the reason why I had to explain to him, you know, Daniel's not your biological father, but he's your dad. He's been there from day one, and he's going to continue to be there for you. So, yeah. Sorry, there's some noise on my computer because my cell phone's ringing. Oh, sorry, that was a long story time, but I hope you guys enjoyed. I had to summarize everything, condense that whole situation, that whole experience in one. But honestly, I definitely hope that you guys enjoyed the story time. I definitely hope that you guys can learn something from the story time. Again, if any of you men, women have ever experienced this in your life, or are currently going through it, trust and believe you are not the only one. You may feel like you are the only one, but sorry, you're definitely not the only one, and better days are here to come. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Korean TV. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys again. Bye!